Hey everybody, and welcome back to FSi DFS. Looking at the 5-game early slate here for Saturday afternoon. Pretty, I think, straightforward slate. It's not going to be a very long video at all, but make sure you are paying attention to the rain in New York. It looks like there could be some storms just kind of passing through during game time, maybe a little bit before game time based on the hourly forecast. So I don't think it's going to be a postponement at all, but a chance for a delay certainly could be possible. Winds are going to be blowing out. So definitely a boost towards the bats in that game. Baltimore might also have a little bit of drizzle happening here and there, but again, postponement is not going to be happening, but just, as we get closer to lock, pay attention to that. So we got the rankings. We'll pull that up here in a sheet in a couple of minutes, but we'll start up at the top as we always do. Nola and Kikuchi, the only two guys priced above 9K. Just looking at matchups, you got to take Nola over Kikuchi. Nola's going to see much more ownership than Kikuchi strictly because of the matchups. Throw in the strikeout upside that Nola can have, and he's probably going to be a lot of people's, first starting pitcher. However, it's no knock to Kikuchi at all. He has been doing very well. He had 12 strikeouts in his last start. Really over the past 2 months or so, he's really found something, and he's been doing a lot better. The strikeout rates are up. The ERA is still up there a little bit, but it's more so because he's got a little bit of a home run issue. Tough matchup, as I mentioned, facing off against Arizona, who have a lot of solid righties throughout the course of their lineup, and just one of the better teams against left-handed pitching in the league. But Kikuchi's not a fade by any means, but I do think that he's more of just a GPP pivot off of a guy like Nola. Beto, I don't think it's going to be Beto here. When I pull up MLB.com, where are we at? Yep, Oakland, right there. Brady Basso. This could be more of just an opener. I don't know what's going on, but I don't have any interest in Basso here. Very limited strikeout upside. Not going to be pitching deep into the game at all. So just kind of throw him out. I know he's only 4K, but just throw him out. Yeah. 4K. He doesn't go super deep into games. So Eflin and Pepio, really the only two guys priced in that mid-salary tier. And there's a massive gap in between these guys. We got Eflin, nice revenge game facing off against Tampa Bay. Still in the Tampa Bay hat on DK. DK, if you're watching, can we just get somebody's sole job to update player pictures? Now, I'm not just talking about Eflin here, but I know that in the NHL, I love the NHL, favorite sport, top sport. There are guys in there who have their profile pictures on DK in jerseys for teams they haven't played for in roughly 4 years. It's bad. It's really bad. So just a suggestion. But back to this. Eflin, he is going to be the number one guy. It honestly would not shock me if he sees the most ownership, even over a guy like Aaron Nola facing off against Miami. Eflin has just looked absolutely dominant recently. Again, it is a revenge game facing off against Tampa Bay. He just went 7 innings against them, no earned runs, 7 Ks, 30 DK points. Am I expecting another 30 DK point performance? No, but can he get you 25? Yes, absolutely. I think that's certainly in the realm, and at only 8.2K, I think he's probably going to be SP1. He's going to be my favorite pitcher on the board here today. Pepio, he's more into I don't have really much interest with right-handers facing off against Baltimore. Baltimore didn't really come through to us last night, but I'm going to have a lot more interest in them again here today, facing off against a righty. Below them, Erod against Houston. No, Rodriguez has really been struggling as of late. And, looking at that salary, looking at the matchup, looking at other options that we have around, just not really much interest at all. Quintana, just pay attention to the rain threat. Really, playing pitchers facing off against Cincinnati. When Cincinnati's on the road, I don't mind that at all. So while Quintana does allow a little bit of harder contact, he's still going to be in the player pool, but just definitely down because of the rain and the hard contact. If I was going to go super cheap below Eflin, I would probably go with Brant Herter as my favorite option. 6.8K facing off against Oakland as the lefty, so nice matchup with the platoons and everything against their stronger hitters. But he's been very solid over the course of the season. He's not going to be blowing you away with 100 pitches or going 7 innings or 10 strikeouts. It's not happening. But the floor, the consistency that he has been able to go out and do time and time again is something that we got to acknowledge. And I think that he can be just fine as a nice, cheap pivot. I don't think salary's going to be too much of an issue, though. Junis, McLaughlin, they're there. Junis probably not going to go super deep into the game. Let's pull up the rankings here. Like I said, Junis probably 65, 70 pitches, maybe 75, but not a full workload, not super interested. So Nola, Eflin, Herder, I feel like all three of these guys have gaps behind them, but with Herder and Quintana, I didn't think it was too much of a gap. And then with Kikuchi, he still does have that strikeout upside because of what's been going on over the past month or 2 months. I think he's certainly. I know I didn't want to put gap there, but between Eflin and Pepio, certainly a massive one. Going into the bats, Philadelphia, top team, top offense on the board. They just went off for 14 runs last night, 15 runs last night, 16. Final answer, 16. Because I think they got 2 late in the 8th inning. But they're going to be a top offense and then just a massive gap. And I really don't think that salary is going to be too much of an issue. You can really just jam in these guys and get whoever you want. You're probably not going to be getting all 3 of the top bats, but if you just wanted to focus on the lefties, you go with Schwarber and Harper, but even throwing guys like Castellanos and Marsh in there. Didn't want to put Clemens, but Castellanos. So a big 4-man Philly stack of really power bats, and then throwing in Aaron Nola and Zach Eflin. You're looking at 3.3K remaining for the remainder of your bats. Certainly doable. So punt catcher, there's going to be value in the outfield that you can certainly go for as well. It's not going to be too difficult. And even if you didn't want to go with Eflin, wanted to get off a little bit of the chalk and go down with Herder, keeping Nola in there. If you think Philly's going to do well, he's probably going to be in line for the win. So I would be taking Eflin out rather than Nola. But now you're looking at 3.6, 3.7 remaining for the rest of your bats. Salary is not going to be too much of an issue, or really an issue at all. Wrong tab. Then I think there's a big gap, and then it's going to be the Mets followed by Houston. Mets facing off against Cincinnati. This is not a hitter's ballpark by any means. We know this, but still, when we're talking about potentially 10, 15 mile an hour winds blowing out against quote-unquote weaker pitching, I'm certainly going to have some interest, especially with the cheaper salaries that the Mets do kind of come with. Jesse Winker, 3.5K. He's probably my favorite value option on the board for this Milwaukee Mets team. Just lefty on righty. Winker's got the second best numbers. I'm talking WOBA, ISO against right-handed pitching this season for the entire team. So Winker at 3.5K, where he slots into the lineup and everything, I think that he's just too cheap, and he's going to be one of my favorite value plays just across the entire board here today. Look at that. There's your value outfielder that I talked about if you're going to be pairing with Philadelphia. Vientos, 4.6K. He was matched for, I think, 2 home runs last night. Yep, 2 home runs last night. He had the walk-off game winner in the 10th inning. He's got solid number. They just have solid numbers against righties up and down the lineup. So I really do like the Mets combined with the winds blowing out. In terms of GPP, Baltimore, again, I know they kind of disappointed us yesterday, but I still think that anytime you can get this team against a non-elite ace pitcher, the upside that they can bring, especially on a slate where the other top bats are also very expensive and priced very similarly, and all the ownership's going to be going in that direction, I'm going to have more interest in Baltimore as a nice pivot because of what they can do. So Baltimore's going to be my favorite GPP. Arizona, we mentioned how they do against lefties, is going to be there as well. Or on the cheap side, Detroit's going to be the favorite cheap darlings, in my opinion, facing off against, not Beto, but against Basso, and then maybe just an Oakland bullpen game. But Malloy, 3.3K. Whoop, there you go. Malloy, 3.3. Got a nice righty there. Banez would probably be my favorite cheap option. And hey, there's a second baseman. Well, I guess we already talked. Oh, no. If you slide Ibanez over into third base. Now you got Stott at second base. And then you throw in Schwarber and Harper and Winker and Nola and Eflin. All of a sudden, like, you got a lineup that's looking pretty okay, in my opinion. But yeah, so Detroit's going to be where I'd be heading towards if you were going cheap. And then leverage stack is just going to be the opponents of what I expect to be the chalk of Nola and Eflin. Oakland, they're kind of also a little bit, I don't want to say levered. I think Herder's going to see quite a bit of ownership just, for the value and everything. But again, I don't think salaries can be too much of an issue. So thanks for watching. As always, hopefully you guys enjoy your weekend. We're going to be off on Sunday, but we do have NFL. It's week 1 NFL. Come and join us. We'd love to have you in the Discord, chatting it up with us. We're going to be providing multiple people's cores, like cash, GPP cores on DK, FanDuel. We're going to be covering some our favorite betting props. It's going to be a big fun time. So come join us. Love to have you. Good luck in all of your contests today, and we'll see you in the next one.